Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of It's a Football Thing. Might seem a little chirpy, but quite frankly, I'm a little bit dead on the inside tonight. But what better place to be on a Tuesday evening at 8:31 p.m. than with my boys, RJ, Robbie, ready to talk about a jam-packed weekend of football. There was action galore. There was top-of-the-table drama. There's some movement in the relegation zone. There's a lot going on, and we're going to unpack it as best as we can for you tonight. Robbie, how are you, buddy?
Good, boys. A bit tired. Obviously, had a very good weekend down in Melbourne. I won't go too deep into it. I don't want to upset you. I'm saying the Formula One word, bogey, but nah, it was a very good weekend overall. And a bit tired, but always looking forward to talking with you boys and the live audience.
Absolutely. We know you had a big weekend. It looked like you had some fun. Good on you for the Ferrari win. And now that's the end of F1 for the night. RJ, how are you, dude?
Well, my motor's running, mate, for all different reasons. I'm absolutely buzzing. We got the bounce back I'm after. It was all yellow, as we like to say in the Chelsea community. But more importantly, just from a Premier League standpoint, it's just been a really good weekend of football and even beyond the Premier League. So it's just a good night to come here and chat with you, lads, as well as the fine people who have joined us this evening. So I'd like to welcome to the IFT couch this evening. We've got Tom from the United Pubcast. Make sure you check out Tom and the great work that himself and Larry does. We've got Marty. We know he's a proud Spurs, and why wouldn't you be at the moment? They're absolutely formidable. I think you'll like that one, Marty. We've got Aussie Gooner here, and I believe, Scott, you two linked up last night on the Football Capital, so nice to see you here, Aussie Gooner. Scott,
it was good fun, man.
On your appearance there, yeah.
It was good fun. Yeah, I made my debut on over at the Football Capital last night. It was good fun with the boys. Tell you what, Aussie Gooner, board chair at the Football Capital, they're loose units, man. But it's always good fun and a good chat. I know that video went out at about 7:15 tonight. So once you're done with this one, jump over and check that out. It was a double stream. So got home from Football Capital, and then we did one on Aussie Gooner's channel as well. So make sure you check those boys out. They're always good for some great football talk.
Yeah, they've got a good setup there, and they're a good bunch of guys committed to the game that we love to cover. And just quickly, welcome. We've got Alex in the house. We've got my fellow Blues brother, concierge of crime, and Davide for our resident Leeds United supporter, and Adam Schweb. It's nice to have you in the house. And Gooner Reddy, of course. Nice to have another Gooner supporting your resident Gooner here. He's had a really tough weekend, of course.
Yeah.
But let's get stuck into it, guys, because there's been a lot to go through, and we're going to dissect the really big ticket games over the weekend, because there were a few, of course. And the first one that I really want to get your thoughts on, boys, is the elephant in the room, the top of the table clash. Manchester City, high flying, and Liverpool, the red hot Liverpool. These two here produced quite the game. I watched it. I even know I sacrificed a bit of sleep on a good old Monday morning. And you know what? I was suitably impressed with the quality that both teams produced, amongst some bit of fortuitous goals that via some deflections. But overall, top quality match. Scott, I'll go to you first. What did you make of that game, mate?
I think I tipped this one. I think I tipped a 2-2 draw
in
this match. I expected goals. I expected fantastic attacking football. And we were entertained. Like it was just one of those matches that you could probably watch back 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Upon reflection, I think 2-2 was fair. Man City probably edged it for me. That first half,
yeah, me too,
was a passing masterclass. That they were tearing Liverpool to shreds. But you look at both those teams. I know that Chelsea is sitting in third, and they're safe for the top 4. But Chelsea are nowhere near that level. They are just clear of the rest of the Premier League. And I would say they are the 2 best teams in world football. And I don't think that's a risky statement. Very impressed. I'm not buying into the narrative that this is a big rivalry because there's no hate. It's so peaceful and pleasant and kind. It's not a big rivalry. It's just 2 brilliant teams going at it. And I was glad to watch that one.
Rob, yeah, Rob, what did you... Yeah, I was going to say, Rob, do you agree with some of the sentiments, Scott, there? Because I think I largely agree, but there's a couple of points about, are they the two best teams in the world? Is this a bit of recency bias? Although over the last few years, they have been the cream of the crop, at least in the Premier League, consistent.
Yes, consistent is the main word for the past few years. And like I said, I do agree on the point he's made about this whole rivalry thing. I think Schwarzer bring it up today. He was saying, like these guys were hugging at full time. People trying to compare this to your Liverpool and like your United versus Arsenal's, or, your Chelsea versus Arsenal's back in the day. Look, I think it's going to be very hard for any of those like real proper battles, man, when you had, your Patrick Vieira's and your Roy Keane's and your, all those players that we enjoyed and grew up with, So like I said, maybe if this continues for a long time, but like I said, mate, this new day and age, players, swapping shirts at halftime and giving each other cuddles in a derby.
It's just too much for me. I don't know. And I'm usually a pretty fair, level-headed guy, but even that kind of stuff, save it for the sideline after the game. I don't like it on camera.
I think it's, fair enough, respect each other, but, look, they put it on a game, and that was like a title fighting game, because I felt like it was two heavyweights going at it, punch for punch, and like I did agree as well with the City. I think City could have snuck away with that. Look, both keepers come up clutch and made some really good saves on both ends. But I do think there was more like City was definitely more in control of that game, and but Liverpool were always there, mate, and some class goals from all of them. Like I said, I just want a quick shout out for Kevin De Bruyne again. Him in big games, and I have to say as well, Diego Jota, mate, that guy pops up in every big game. He's very, very good, and he's definitely going to be my team of the season so far this year.
Yeah, he's got to be up there. But you know what? One part of the match, because I thought City started off very brightly, got their deserved lead, conceded a goal. Very nice work from Robertson to find his fellow, partner TAA at the back post, and a nice equaliser. But I thought Liverpool started the second half, really started to impose themselves on the game, and credit to Klopp for their halftime team talk. But again, I don't want to talk about this VAR controversy, but that's Sterling offside. Again, that's the most narrowest of margins. Do you see it as a clear offside, or is it clear for you, Scott? A clear for you, Rob? I don't know. To me, I'm a little bit maybe.
Yeah, I thought it was a clear offside. I don't think it was as close as I've seen on other calls before, but fair enough.
Hey, for me, and while Mo's on there, who runs the Blue Lounge, massive congrats to him. I know he hit 10K subs on his channel. They do some really good content. They're always open to fans, so make sure you check them out. 10K is just the beginning, brother. But for me, the Sterling one was clear. Like,
David agrees with you.
You could see that for me. I mean, when we talk Arsenal, the Martinelli one for me was much tighter than that one.
I disagree with that. Yeah, not for me. Because even they showed the stills of when the ball was played. They used one when the ball was blurry, so after, or one when the ball is stuck and there's still image. So I still have my doubts with the way VAR actually works for all teams. But you know what? I just thought that was a big turning point. Could have decided the title. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's a cracking contest, and sometimes maybe a draw is the best result for the neutral. Who do you think? And Robbie, I'll go to you first. Who has the better run home?
I just think from here now, I said last week, if Liverpool beat City, I think it was Liverpool's to take. But now that even on the draw, I honestly reckon City will go ahead and they'll take it now.
Scott?
It's very tight. I mean, as much as I don't want to praise them, Liverpool have to play Spurs, and Spurs are one of the form teams outside of those two at the moment. So Liverpool probably have the harder draw on paper. But we know this, boys. There are no easy matches in the Premier League. Mm-hmm. There are twists and turns. I mean, I 100% locked in top 4 the other week, as people keep reminding me. And look now how that's come to bite me on the rear end.
We'll get to that in a moment, Scott. Just don't worry, buddy.
It's mental. It's mental. You don't know. But I think I would rather be, and I said this last night too, I would rather be City and be leading the line than be the one chasing. So...
yeah, I was just looking at their games here. What I will say is that, like you said, Scott, Liverpool do have Tottenham, who are in red-hot form at the moment. But City as well have got some tough games with, West Ham, Wolves. I know Liverpool have got Wolves also. But Liverpool also have Manchester United. So there's a guaranteed 3 points, as you know. So you just really don't know at the moment. Robbie, it's a pivotal time to switch over to Frank Lampard resurrecting the Toffees. I did watch this game. United should have got more out of this, but another sloppy goal they've conceded. And every week we keep saying this about your team. They just look disjointed. There seems to be a lack of desire and fight, all of those intangibles. And there's a lot of criticism directed at Rangnick to say, is he a little bit in over his head here? I want to hear your thoughts, and then we'll get Scott as the neutral to comment on it.
Yeah, look, boys, like I'm the one that was on the pod last week that said a draw, and you guys kind of both laughed at me thinking I was, taking the mick out of this. And I said I honestly wouldn't surprise me. So look, I was surprised with the loss. I wasn't expecting to lose that, but yeah, I definitely could have seen a draw, which obviously didn't. It was worse than that. But look, I didn't get to watch the game live for the first time this season, being down in Melbourne. But from the highlights I watched, we were quite the first 25 minutes. We were quite in front in the game. We had a lot of shot on targets. Of all weeks, Jordan Pickford decided to become prime Buffon. No clangers. He made some really clutch saves as well. And then it was, Matic, probably our best player in the field. He was the one that kind of his mistake led to the goal. And look, that goal sums up our season, mate. A deflection off Harry Maguire. Not his fault, but it had to be him of all players. And it just sums up our season, mate. Just unlucky, not happening for us. It hasn't really hurt me that bad because I felt like, I wasn't even confident of a win. So
that's the saddest part, I think, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah.
Like, as the United fans, you can almost see it coming. And I just didn't even think, this is a cheeky comment, but just on the United front, it's sad to see that an institution as big as they are can accept losing to a team as bad as Everton have been this season. I don't know.
I don't think you can call it acceptance, but it's just knowing that it's not confidence anymore. Like we could say, okay, this team was coming up, for most of the years of me supporting them. That's a 3 points, 100%. That's a 3 points, 100%. We've got Norwich next week, and I can't even give you that we're going to beat Norwich. You know what I mean? Like, the club is in shambles at the moment in all aspects. From the top
that's
to
not
bottom.
good enough, though. Like you look
It's not good enough, Scott. You've been experiencing this for 5 years, man. Don't start.
Good point.
You are, and I want that fire from you, mate, because you're sitting there, and I'm seeing this from United fans everywhere. You guys are just accepting it. You've rolled over, and you're just like, yeah, we suck now, whatever. Like, mate, you should be livid because you know what? Unlike us, you've got the experience in the squad. You've got them there. You've got these players that are being gassed up, and it's not even a project. Your team just needs to be doing better. And at some point, you've got to this has to go now on the players. To me, it's not the owners. It's not the manager now because
100%. You're right there with the players.
They need to clear them out. Clear these guys out because, quite frankly, they're not good enough. You guys have gassed up Rashford over the years. He needs to move. Greenwood, unavailable because he's an idiot. Like, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who was meant to be the next big thing, he's been awful. Like, it's just not happening. And these players need to be cleared out. It's unacceptable what's happening to United. If they're not careful, this mediocrity is going to become the norm. And believe me, for us being out of the Champions League so long, you don't want to be there. Your fans need to not sit back and accept it. Need to fire up and start making a lot of noise. A lot of noise.
Noise doesn't always, noise. We've seen last year when we had the the big thing last year, and the Glazers out and this, and then we got a bit of a reaction. We got some new toys again that gave us all hope and thought we're going to do something this year, and we've gone worse. So that's what I mean. Like, what do you want us to do? We've been seeing this. It's the same circle I've said since post Alex, mate. We're going round and round in circles, and like I said, could be in the next month or two we've gotten our new manager. We could be clearing out up to 6, 7, 8 players because free transfers or they're not good enough, etc. this season, and we could buy a whole heap for the new manager, and we're all going to get the same thing again. But no one knows what we need to do it because every year we get new players in that we thought we addressed the situation with that needed. And like I said, this year we were screaming for a centre back. We got Varane, a world-class Champions League World Cup winner. I thought, he's been, honestly, like, he's probably been more of one of our most inconsistent players. He plays one game, he misses 4 through injury. He has a good game, he misses 4 through injury again. Like I said, Cavani, he came in like as a makeshift last year, was really good. I think he's probably played, feels like 3 games this year. We have no striker. Ronaldo, if it's not Ronaldo, like I said, Greenwood's, the situation with Greenwood. Like, we've brought in Alanga to try and do something from the academy. He's not United caliber. There's just, Anthony Martial. He's been great. And then, like, in the past 2 seasons, he's dropped off a bit. He's on loan at Sevilla, doing nothing over there. Like, there's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of holes. And, when we thought we were filling 2 holes that we're going to get there, that one extra piece of the puzzle, mate, I feel like we need a half a piece of puzzle or more to get back to where we are. And I honestly think it's not going to be a quick fix. We're going to have to maybe go down the Arsenal route of 3-4+ years to actually get a manager in for the long haul that we're going to have to actually give time, actually back. And there's going to be a slow progression, mate.
But that's the point, isn't it, Robbie? Like, as a club as foundational and as big as you guys are, that has built so much pride on its success, will the fan base, will the corporate sponsors and all the key backers accept a medium to long-term transition period? Because you're not a smaller club that can accept that. That's my question for you.
It's hard, and I always, as much as I can't stand them, you have to go back and look at Liverpool. Liverpool is on the exact same caliber as us, as one of the best English teams worldwide, got the fan base, got the titles in the bag, etc., etc. Now, until Klopp came in, and when Klopp came in, it took him 4 to 5 years to get Liverpool to where they are now, which is an absolute juggernaut. And obviously, you're seeing, they're getting all their trophies, they're getting all their beautiful football now. But it's not like Klopp came in and they were like challenging for titles. They were 7th, they were 5th, they made a Europa final, they lost. They've done a lot of stuff like this. And then, again, they had the right people in, they gave Klopp a lot of time, they backed him, which I've got to give him credit for that. And now they're reaping the rewards. And look, probably United as a fan base, United as, as the boards and, like I said, all the sponsors, people just want United to win because it's, for most of these people have seen 2 decades of just dominance. So when we're not winning, we just want to do a quick fix to try and get back to where we were, and it's not working.
Yeah. Scott, go on.
Your fans were doing all the right things. You were making all the right noises. But and I see this happen with us as well. Arsenal fans are very similar. Any criticism I'm chucking at you, Rob, I'm chucking at myself and our fan base too, because we get sucked into this. You were doing all the right things. You got your vanity signing of Cristiano Ronaldo that you didn't need, you didn't want, you didn't plan for, and that was it. It was all forgiven. It was all forgotten. These owners, Cronkies, Glazers, mate, they're too used to just paying us off, buying the fans. And for both our clubs, until we start making some noise and we start really ramping up the heat, mate, nothing's going to change. You look, fans can make a difference. Arsene Wenger, 20 years. Yeah, 20 years was there and more. And the fans made noise. And when that started, it was the beginning of the end. And that was a legend. We need to do more as fans. We just have to do more. And you guys, Gunnaretti's spot on and Marty too. United's biggest mistake was not locking in.
You know how I feel about this, Scott. You know how I feel about it. And then if Spurs, I'm going to wait till the end of the season to tell everyone I told you so, because that's me not taking, that's a W for me, because I quarter and a quarter and a quarter. And look, it might have happened for United, but for me, I would have taken a chance on Conte. He's had Premier League experience. He's a winner. I told you, when he gets some players and stuff, a lot of people won't agree with me. And I know Tom's not a big Conte fan, but for me, Spurs were behind us when we got it. When he got appointed to Spurs, Spurs were behind us. Spurs are 4th now, and their wheels are definitely in motion. And if they get that Champions League spot, mate, the snowball continues. They get the money for the Champions League. They make an attraction for more players, and they go on and start challenging for. Look, they haven't won a title, but they go in that thing.
If Conte hasn't walked from Spurs, there's no way he walks from Manchester United. No way. It's not like Spurs indulged him. So anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, we must. We must, because they're going to continue to be a talking point for some time. And a team that's been a recent talking point is Arsenal. Like you said, Scott, a couple of weeks ago, things have gone fairly well. We've all been impressed with the resurgence under Arteta, and we've all said, you know what? Patience is a virtue. Arteta's a good example of that. Back-to-back losses, one more convincing than the other. Crystal Palace, Brighton. First of all, tell us your sentiments about the Brighton game, because obviously there was the controversy at the end, but they were second best, in my opinion. But then more broadly, what does this do now for the remainder of the campaign? Because now, like you said, you've gone from a rosy position to now this is another season where you could lose that grip on fourth spot, which in my blow would be a pretty bitter pill to swallow if I was a Gunners fan.
Quite frankly, right, at the beginning of the season, Arsenal fans weren't expecting fourth. You saw in our Premier League prediction show I said fifth or sixth. But we were presented a golden opportunity, a Stephen Bradbury-esque opportunity to finish fourth. United are playing like dross. Spurs were playing like dross. They sacked a manager. Like Leicester didn't want it. West Ham inconsistent. It was there right in front of us to take. My expectations shifted the minute United became less of a threat. Yeah, oh, that's terrible.
I was waiting to use that one, Marty. Just give me my thunder, mate.
Once United were no longer a threat for top four, we should have taken that. That became my expectation. Now, if you go way back at the end of January, and I know since then I have said top four 100%, lock it in.
Guaranteed, mate. Ironclad.
Bad footballing take. But if you look at the reaction video I did after the January transfer window, I came out and I said, if we have no injuries, this is a bad window. If we get injuries, this is a disaster. And quite simply, we've lost Kieran Tierney. The man that Mikel Arteta signed as his backup, Nuno Tavares, he's obviously lost faith in. And we've lost Thomas Partey. Now, neither of those things should shock Arsenal fans. Thomas Partey was injury-free his whole career till he signed for us. And he's struggled to put it together a run of games. So him being injured shouldn't have been a shock. Kieran Tierney, again, top player. But him being injured shouldn't have been a shock. We shot ourselves in the foot so badly in January, it's not funny. We're relying now on Laka and Eddie, who are both out of contract and not renewing, to score our goals. We now don't have a left back. We're playing Granit Xhaka there, which to me, as soon as I saw that, my confidence of the game just vanished. And in the middle, we've got Sambi Lokonga, who hasn't had form. Like, he hasn't had football, so he's not going to be sharp. It was calamitous against Brighton. And the reason these two results have been so painful is because these were the two easy ones. We've got to play Chelsea. We've got to play United. And God knows what's going to happen in that match. That's going to be a comedy more than a sporting match. And we've got to play Spurs, who at the moment are looking much better than us at this point in time. Now, anything can happen in those matches, but these were the gimmies. Palace and Brighton. So we didn't take advantage. It was poor squad selection by Mikel Arteta, who's done some good things, but this is a blemish. So, yeah, it was disappointing. It is what it is. Even the VAR goal that I thought was a disgraceful decision, but I'm not shocked because we never get them. We were told at the start of the season that they were going to give the benefit of the doubt to attacking teams. And we were told that VAR was there to overturn clear and obvious errors. If you need 3, 4, 5 minutes to make the call, it's not clear and obvious. It is not a clear and obvious error. All I want is consistency. That's all. Nothing more. Just be consistent. And quite frankly, they're not. It's disgraceful. I'm not saying we would have won the game, but goals change games. And that one, it could have. Disgraceful call.
Could have, should have, would have, didn't in the end. As a good friend of mine likes to say to me often, you make your own luck to win games, and it didn't happen on Arsenal's occasion. But Robbie, as a neutral, you're obviously not a proud Arsenal fan, neither should you be. But if Arsenal now, after building that momentum, go on and finish fifth place, point blank, is it a failed season, knowing where they could have finished?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not for me.
Scott?
I predicted them at the start of the season. I said fifth. I think they really like that middle section that's just been. I think they've done really, really good, and they look really threatening. No one was ever going to put them in the Champions League top four this year. So they've played with it. And
Is
even
that
got fourth a
important
few
though?
times.
Because what happens at the start of season versus what happens 2/3, 3/4 into the season, you're in that position. Doesn't matter what the expectation was. You're there now.
Yep.
If you miss it, isn't that a failure? Like I would say that the same if I was in the Premier League race. If we dropped off at the end, even though we're third best, I would call it a failure because we were so close. But that's just my
See, but
personal
that
opinion
goes to
on
like
it.
right now. Spurs are in fourth now. Is it a failure
Yeah.
if they miss out with how close everyone is? You know what I mean? It's changing week by week kind of thing. I don't know. For me, it's not
That's
a
a good
failure.
point.
As a neutral, I don't think it's too bad. If they finish fifth, I think that's still a good season compared to 8th or 7th, whatever it was last year.
The reason why I say that, and Scott, I'm conscious you've got an opinion on it, of course, but because of how bad everybody around them has been, like if top four was ironclad and they were really underdogging it, but because of how bad United, Tottenham have been prior, to me, I'd think now, if this is the one that got away from them, that would be a big kick in the guts. Scott?
Well, yeah, go for
Look,
it, Scott.
Quite simply, to me, it wouldn't be a failed season, but it would be a disappointing result.
Yeah. When
Yeah,
that time when
because-
you said it's on lock, that's when you guys should have had it on lock.
Yeah.
No, honestly. And then from missing out from that point, that's when you say, okay, that's a disappointment, like you said, because you had the opportunity.
100%.
David makes a good point here as well.
No, to me, we should never be happy finishing top six. It's not something I'm happy about because I just went on that rant saying United fans shouldn't accept mediocrity. I'm going to look like an absolute idiot if I sit here saying, yeah, I'm really happy with sixth. I'm not happy with sixth. To me, fifth, sixth is enough for Arteta to have another year. It's enough to give him another year of his project because there has been some progress, but it's not good enough. It's still not good enough. And look, I'm just hoping that this comment doesn't become reality, that we're not doing Conference League content, Robbie, next season, you and me, while RJ's lapping it up.
I can't be associated with conference people. We might have to talk contracts, mate. So just letting you know.
mean, Scott, especially for me and you, what do you want? If you don't get Champions League football this year, what do you want or not want? Because this is going to be, I know in the United community, this is a massive question at the moment.
So if we don't get Champions League, what do I want?
Or what do you want or what don't you want?
Look, Europa League is it. If it's anything below that, I'd rather we just drop to 10th. I don't want to play in the Conference League.
Yeah.
I would be okay with the Europa League, but I don't want to be getting knocked out to Olympiacos again because people will talk about it being progress. Let's not forget, when we dropped out of the Champions League, we were a Europa League team. So we had to drop back and miss out on the Europa League, and now we're getting back. I don't see that as progress. That's like a reset. We've hit reset. We've gone back to where we were. And I agree with what Lottie said there about us being 2 injuries away from it. But at the end of the day, I wanted them to sign players. 99.9% of fans wanted them to sign players, but they didn't go and do it in January. And I don't know if that's Edu or the owners or Arteta, but it's one of the three or all of them. So it's not something that I'm going to use as an excuse, because if the fans know that this was a glaring mistake, the club needed to do better. So,
well, what adds salt to the wound is the stats that how good Aubameyang's going over in Barcelona now, and he's only 2 goals less than what he scored for Arsenal. And obviously, it's not binary,
different
just because
system,
he's there,
different environment,
different game, different league, blah blah blah. But it just from a striking point of view doesn't look good, obviously. But it's just one thing that made me laugh, and I shared with you guys, is the Arsenal, the AFTV, and that guy going on there saying we got the best young club in the world. We're gonna get in the Champions League. But so you could look. Football's a funny thing. If you guys won these couple games and your young players have shine through, and you didn't need to supplement in January, all of a sudden Arteta and the board look like they've done a big masterstroke. But it's a high risk, high reward strategy, and they've gone bust at the moment. But moving on to another part of London, a team that we can all agree on we're not very big fans of, if at all. Tottenham, very formidable, and credit to Davide on this comment he's made. He said Tottenham are now Conte-enders for the top 4 in this one. So big up to you, Davide, on your nice little pun. Robbie, go to you first. Spurs, I thought Aston Villa in the first half, I know you didn't catch the game full, but I did. Aston Villa were playing very well in that first half, did not deserve to be behind. But in the second half, completely switched off. Kulusevski, my player of the transfer market in the Premier League, and I know Diaz has been phenomenal and Bruno for Newcastle, but Kulusevski and obviously Son, Kane together, geez, that front three firing on all cylinders. What did you make of Tottenham's 4-0 thrashing of Villa?
Well, like I said, a picture paints 1,000 words, mate. I didn't watch much football over this whole weekend, except today. I wanted, obviously, for tonight, I wanted to do a bit of research. And first, I just watched all the goals, just the one that just said all the goals. And I obviously seen all the goals. I'm like, oh, wow, Tottenham just absolutely creamed them. And then I went back and watched just the 10-minute highlights of this. And you're exactly right what you said. Aston Villa, they were right in this. They had more of the percent. They had more shots on targets. They looked crazily good in that first half, and some really big clutch saves from Lloris. But look, mate, again, that second half, once they got into gear, and like I said, those front three, I've been G'ing them up for months and months and months. They are all in motion at the moment. Again, Kulusevski, Son with a hat-trick. They're just killing at the moment.
Great goals too, by the way.
Really,
great goals.
Now, even like this, I don't know, what about that touch from Harry Kane for the assist, like that header? I mean, Kulusevski's on fire. They're just, honestly, you got to give him credit.
He's Italian, isn't he, Rob? I'm sure he's Italian. With a name like that, he's got to be.
Yeah, he's Swedish, mate. He's Swedish.
Boy. Scott, I know it's hard to talk about Tottenham, but honestly, take your Arsenal hat off, put your neutral hat on. They played great, mate. You've got to be honest here.
Tottenham were as good as Villa were poor. Villa peppered their goal, and it was really disappointing finishing. I'm sure Stevie G would have been livid with the finishing because they had chances. And, one of those goals goes in or two and Spurs find themselves 2-0 down. Anything can happen. But you've got to give credit where it's due. They banked 3 points. And at this time in the season, that's all that matters. You bank those points. They are humming in attack, but their defense still does look a little bit dodgy. Doherty's now out injured for the rest of this. I don't know if it's the rest of the season, but it's for at least 6 weeks or something. So losing Doherty will be a big loss to them. So
and they've got a few big games coming up as well. I noticed against Brighton, Brentford, Leicester, teams that like to play a bit of football and can really cause them a bit of trouble. So it'll be interesting to watch this space.
Yeah,
correct.
It's in their hands, mate. It's in their hands at the moment. Yep. And like I said, that North London derby is going to be fireworks, mate.
Well, when is that? That's in what? When is that in May?
It's towards the end of the season. They've locked that in, man. I think it's in May or something. So that's going to be really very, very big game. That one.
I wonder if the Premier League will lose its sort of theatrical performance there because both the trend is showing that the teams are getting further apart. Will this actually be a battle for fourth spot or will it be decided by then? I hope not as a neutral. I hope it goes down to the wire, but it'll be very fascinating because Tottenham, just based on the last couple of weeks, totally turned the tide. But we know the potential for them to go back into total disarray and we can only hope that happens again. Fingers crossed. Yeah, let's quickly touch on my team for a moment because last week was a total shocker. It was a howler. We had one of the worst weeks I can recall in recent memory. And Thomas Tuchel called us out, and rightfully so. The one thing I want to say is that he's no different to any other manager in the sense that they've called players out publicly. The difference has been in the response. So it's interesting to see now. You said, Scott, Villa were as bad as Tottenham were good. Saints were absolutely atrocious as we were good as well. But it was nice to see players like Mason Mount bounce back from his average performance against Real Madrid, amongst others. Loftus-Cheek at right wing back was an interesting inclusion, and that might be a bit of a signal that he might go for an attacking-based player for Madrid. But overall, players like Timo Werner hit all 3 posts, left, right, crossbar. Should have got 3-4 goals at the least. To me, that's just a bit of an outlier performance. I still think his long-term future is probably out of the club. But overall, very convincing display against a team that plays to our strengths in the sense of if you don't press us cohesively, we're going to pick you off with the pace of our attack. So good to get a confidence-boosting win. I'm not sure if any of you gents caught the match or at least the highlights.
Yeah, I seen the goals for this one, and the first thing I thought of after, like, look, congrats to Chelsea, mate. Congrats to Chelsea. That's
Exactly.
to beat anyone 6-0. But that's what I was thinking. Southampton have it in their locker to play some beautiful football and be so hard to beat one week. But then, like, you look the last 3 seasons, 6-0, 9-0 United. The year before that, I think
It's bang or bust with them, isn't
8-0
it?
as well.
Yeah.
So they've got that in their thing to just, when they capitulate, mate, they capitulate bad.
Yeah, for sure.
No, not much from me to add. Just, good result from Chelsea, and I'm sure that sends you into Real Madrid's this next fixture with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, before we get into the Champions League, Scott, I'm not sure I think you've got the results on the separate screen or even the ladder, but I just want to just look at the table because obviously City and Liverpool are 1 point apart, 74 and 73 points respectively. You mentioned before about Chelsea being the third best team at the moment, and all the statistics support that. But it's interesting, I was listening to your points about the club not supplementing its stocks with players like Tini being injured and the backup's not working. Equally, I'd say something similar applies to Chelsea. If they win their game in hand, they're 8 points behind, so they're still not near the top. But considering Chilwell's been available for 15 games and Reece James for 9 games, whatever it is, if those players were both fit for the whole season, and if you take out Cancelo and Alexander-Arnold for Liverpool, you can see how these things start to equalise themselves out a little bit. But that's the importance of having squad depth. But I just wanted to have a look at this ladder. Even down the bottom now, Burnley's 2-0 loss against Norwich and Everton's big win over United, the big 1-0 win, 4-point buffer, that could be huge in the context of who goes up and who drops to the dreaded championship. Any comments on any of the table movements?
Well, just from me, I mean, I'm more interested in the bottom than the top at this point. And that's only because I do think that City will do what they need to do and take this. And you look at the bottom, though, everyone keeps saying Norwich are 100% down. Mate, a couple of games, a couple of wins, 3 wins in a row, and it looks very different. Do I see them getting that? Absolutely not. I do think they're down. But I think that Burnley and Everton is going to be the interesting battle to watch because Jesse Marsh, credit to him, has got Leeds playing much more solid football. They're not just gung-ho now.
Yep.
They're playing with some structure. They're playing with they look like a little bit of vision and identity. So, yeah, credit to what he's done at Leeds as well. He's turned them around for me. I don't think they'll go down.
Yeah, fair points. And I'm looking at the run home for both Everton and Burnley, and they've both got Brentford and Norwich coming up, and then West Ham and City. So I think, it's really hard to predict who's going to go sort of in this race, but that's what makes it so exciting. Robbie, do you have any last thoughts on that?
Another shout out just quickly to Brentford, mate. I told you they're my adopted team this year. That is another big win, mate. They have beat, I said, obviously they've done Chelsea the other week. This week again, you can't rule them out, man. For a team that's come up, for such a small club that's come up through the championship and their first season in decades and decades and decades, mate, I really applaud them. And I enjoy watching them play, to be honest. They play good football. So congrats to them. And I really, like I said, all season from day one, I've said I hope they stay up. And I think they put themselves in a great situation to stay up now.
Yeah, definitely. It makes it it's been fascinating. And we've got a bit of a tipping score update, which I'd like to share. So thanks to my Blues brother, Daniel. So Robbie sitting comfortably easy on top, but I'm not too far behind. And Scott, again, rounding up the top 3. So big credit to you, mate. Well done.
I feel like I keep getting them right, but my score doesn't sound. I feel like I've been on 166 for the last 3 months.
Oh, you tipped one right, mate. I don't think you've got to get the other tips right too. That's kind of how it works. But
I don't know. Dodgy Daniel, I think.
Dodgy Daniel. Well, mate, Daniel, I'm going to have to pay you after the show. I think I'm on 181. We'll have to talk about that. But let's talk about the Champions League quarterfinal second leg because we've got some big games there. We've got Bayern Munich, Villarreal. Villarreal have taken a 1-0 lead over to Germany. I think personally Bayern are going to bounce back for this. It's unthinkable for them to not score any goals at home. But Unai Emery's got a winning formula against these German giants. So stranger things have happened. I just don't think that's going to happen in this case. My prediction for this match, gents, is a 3-1 win to Bayern Munich. Robbie?
Yeah, look, I'm going to be arrogant as well, mate. I'm going to say actually Lewandowski going to score a hat-trick in this game just because of all
Barcelona's new striker, you mean,
yeah,
Robbie?
just with all these little rumours in the air, just to add a little bit of for Bayern to say, are you going to be missing out on me or whatever? But look, I really do at Munich at home. If Villarreal do this, wow, massive credit to them. But I think they got too much in the locker, especially in Munich at Germany. I think a 3-1, yeah, I agree with
Tommy, mate, I think you've been hanging out at the pub too long, mate. What's going on,
me
there,
and Tom are in the same place because
you both caught it before it even started the first game. So I've got to give you credit on the first leg. But like I said, we've seen this before when they look a bit dodgy away, and then like I said, this could finish 8-1. We know that can happen.
I don't think so. Not
I'm not
against...
saying that, but we've seen it before when they can put a big score on at home.
But before I give my prediction, a couple of quick reminders. Make sure you smash that like button. If you haven't subbed as well, make sure you click that too. We honestly appreciate all your subs and likes. And I want you to do me a favor in the comments as well. We now have 8 teams left in this Champions League. Type in that comment box which one of those 8 teams win it. You don't have to tell us an explanation. You don't have to go in depth. I just want to know who of them 8 teams wins it. Type that team's name. We'll chuck some of them up. But for me, this game is going to be a 1-1 draw. And that will be enough to get Unai Emery's boys through. I am cheering him on. I want to see Unai Emery win. But in that comment, in the chat, I want to see who you think's winning the Champions League too.
Yeah, no, fair call. You're back in the bolter here, and I respect that. Speaking of bolters, where a bolter's chance, Real Madrid at a classic night at the Bernabeu rates. We're billing it in the Chelsea community as the miracle in Madrid because we're going to need the miracle. 3-1 down, aggregate score, pretty poor performance last time out. What I will say is Madrid played good. We gave them some cheap goals, but I think now that 6-0 win gives us hope. And that's important because we need to show a bit of confidence, a little bit of quality, and ultimately composure. I expect us to have a little bit more risk in terms of going forward. I just hope that we don't get the balance wrong and we give players like Vinicius Jr. and Benzema too much time and space because that's ultimately what cost us last game. But it's all or nothing now. We're the champions of Europe, and it's now up to us to sort of show our quality. I think we're going to lock this one in. I'm a dreamer. I dare to dream. So I think we'll go through in extra time. It'll be 3-1 after the end of normal time, and we'll win it in extra time. Robbie?
I just can't count out Chelsea. That's the thing that hurts. Obviously, from a United thing, and I don't want to go for another year of hearing all the boasting about Chelsea winning the Champions League, and that's a neutral.
It's okay, Rob. You can join our team, mate. It's fine.
I know, mate. So look, honestly, I can't count out Chelsea in this one. You really can't. Do I think they're gonna get over the line? I think they're just gonna miss out. If my honest opinion, I think that third goal in that game. I think if this was 2-1, I really think I'd be leaning towards Chelsea. I think that if Real Madrid throw this away at home with that bit of a buffer, and again Benzema being clutch as he is, I would be really amazed. So I do think this is going to be like an aggregate. It could end up 3-1 now. It could be like a 4-3 or something. So yeah, it could be like 2-1, or it could even be 2-1 to Chelsea win, but it's not enough to get them over the line or something. So
yeah,
I think Real Madrid advanced in this one. Just
me too. I'm going 2-1 Chelsea, but I think they're in for a bit of a humbling now, and Madrid will send them crashing with their trophy from last year.
No, well, at least we've got a trophy to reminisce on. I wish we could all say that.
Lose the talk, mate. Let's live in the present.
That's it. That's right. How's those Invincibles going? Excellent.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's also a couple of other high-octane clashes. We've got Atletico, who have surrendered they take back a 1-0 aggregate so far defeat back with them. I said last time out, I don't think it's over for them just yet. 1-0 gives them a fighter's chance in my mind. Man City, we know the quality that they bring. I don't know. I'm really torn about this one. I still think City will get through, but I think it'll be a 1-1 draw and City get through on aggregate. Scott?
For once, I actually agree with you. I think 1-1, but City too good.
Get your own tips, mate. Bloody hell.
Yeah, look, I think you guys are pretty spot on. If there's a winner, I do think it'll be City, but same, a 1-0 or a 1-1 draw in this one.
Yeah, fair call. And then the last but not least, Liverpool Benfica. In my mind, this is the most clear cut of them all. 3-1.
Yeah.
Red hot Liverpool. They probably, if I'm them, I wonder how much of a full strength team they actually take into it, given they've obviously got FA Cup against Manchester City. It seems like these rivals are forever playing each other at the moment, but I reckon they'll go in there a bit of a 80% strength team. Good work, Crazy Diamond. Good to have you here.
Yeah, this one's dead. Liverpool will take it. I'm going to go 2-0.
Yeah, I agree. I said this last one. As soon as they got out of the away match with that much of a lead, at Anfield, they'll probably double it. So, yeah, easy this one. Liverpool being the semi-final.
So that would leave then, theoretically, based on your tips, gents, you've got Real Madrid versus Man City and Liverpool taking on Bayern Munich / Villarreal based on who you guys have tipped. Wow, you would never have thought at the start of the season, Villarreal. Yeah, you think Liverpool City again?
I think it could be a City Liverpool. Out of all those teams, again, I think they're both in form. They both got the squad depth, especially City. Both just annoy me. Any of them winning would just annoy me to the limit. So, look, I do think they're the best. They're the best two teams on paper there, and they can go all the way.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, gents, we've covered a lot of the Premier League. It's been a huge week for us. Obviously, the Champions League, some tantalising clashes over the next 2 days, and you can bet your bottom dollar we're going to unpack all of it on Thursday evening. But before we really look to close things out, let's transition to the ever-famous quick-fire questions. Robbie, you're our most organised of the group here. I expect none less. What do you have for us this evening?
Our boys got 3 quick ones. Chess or checkers?
Chess.
Chess for me.
Oh, it's a hat trick then for chess. Tekken or Street Fighter?
Street Fighter.
Tough one, man. Tough one. Twisted my arm here, but locking Street Fighter, old school for me.
I'll go Tekken. And last one, boys.
Hey, who's your favourite Tekken character? I know it's your question, but who's your favourite Tekken
character?
No.
This is when I used to play. My favourite one was Tekken 3, and I have to say Eddie Gordo was my favourite.
Scott, did you ever play Tekken?
The bloke with the giant moustache and the weird pointy hair. I forget his name. The old fella.
I
can't remember. This is why it's not Tekken.
Hiroshima or something like that. I can't remember. One of the boys.
Again, this is why it's Street Fighter every day.
Paul Phoenix and Yoshimitsu with
Yoshimitsu, he was
good. And
there was some top
game. The rainbow kick.
Last one, boys. There's heaps of movies out there, but just give us one of your favorite quotes from a movie. Doesn't have to be your only one, but like just pick a good movie that you like and a good quote from it or something like that.
Oh, look, I'm going to go with Rocky. It's not about how hard you can get hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And that's the story of Arsenal season. We need to keep moving forward.
I like it.
Well, connecting football to movie quotes, here's a good one from one of my favorites of all time. It's from Shawshank Redemption. It goes, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. And that's the hope I've got for Chelsea tomorrow morning.
I love it. For me, I'll just go on original Fast and Furious 1, mate. Vin Diesel. Doesn't matter if you win by inch or a mile, winning's winning.
Well, I was going to say that to you, Rob, about why did you bring the Buster here to Scott? But, what can you do?
I love that.
Scott, what have you got, my man?
Look, one about food. There has to be a food one. What's that one food that even if you're full, even if you're stuffed, you'll still go back and get seconds of it?
Wow, look, boy, this is I'm just going to say seafood in general. I'll tell you why, because I was at the Crown Casino on the weekend. I went to their buffet. And I absolutely smashed them, mate. I had like 6 plates of food. And once I picked something that I like after I've had the whole buffet, I kept going back. So I reckon I had about a kilo of prawns and I had about another kilo of the pippies in the XO sauce, mate. So, yeah, I can just keep going back for seafood all day, mate.
I reckon for me, I'd say like a ragu sauce, just the sauce. No matter what it is, I could just keep going for it. Absolutely love it.
And RJ does make a top sauce, I have to say.
Yeah, he does. If he's good at anything and he's not, it would be that. For me, it's a tortellini Boscaiola. Have to go back for like 8 bowls.
Excellent. Well, I've got a question for you, gents. I'll keep it food related. First of all, it's a trio. So you got to pick one, bench one, and sell one. Tortellini, ravioli, gnocchi.
Tortellini.
Say it again, tortellini.
So it's you got to pick one, bench one,
sell.
and sell one. Exactly.
All right. So say what are the 3 passes again? Say it again.
Tortellini, ravioli, and gnocchi.
Okay. So I'll bench gnocchi. Ravioli. What was it? Ravioli and what? Say it. I'm getting confused.
Tortellini.
Okay, so tortellini. I'll sell that one and I'll keep the other one.
See, I'll ravioli in the bin, tortellini to start, gnocchi on the bench.
Yeah.
For me, I would keep the tortellini, bench the ravioli, and sell the gnocchi. I love them all, but can't keep them all. And the last question, gents, did you have something, Scott, there? Did you have it?
Yeah, I have one more. I didn't get to. Just in terms of content creators, boys, who's another content creator that you really like, admire their work, or you enjoy their channel very much? Besides, of course, the obvious friends. But anyone besides the obvious ones that we have in here in the live chat, who's someone else?
Does it have to be just football, or has to be? It could be anything.
Anything, mate. Anything.
That's a good one. Look, obviously, like I said, my second favorite one is second favorite sport is Formula One, and I think it's called WTF1. They're really, really good, and they just hit 1 million subscribers, so that's how good they are.
How the hell are there 1 million people who watch that crap? That's beyond me.
Wait, I was going to bring this up with you, saying it's not a sport, mate. Australia just broke the record for the biggest attendance, 420,000 over the thing. So 420,000 people disagree with you, mate.
See, Scott, there's the problem with this country right there. I can see what he's thinking.
Look, majority rules doesn't matter if the majority is stupid. So, I'm not saying you're stupid, Rob. I know you're a very clever bloke, but mate, 1 million people listening to that is beyond me. For me, I would probably say, I don't know if you would have seen him around Turkish. He's an Arsenal fan. I'm a big fan of Turkish. He keeps it real. He keeps it real for me. I really like what he has to say. So, big fan of him.
Yeah, and for me, I'd say probably there's a couple, but we have to pick one, and it's Chelsea related. Big fan of the Byline, subscriber of that, Alex Goldberg's channel, because he's got a great set of rotating guests, from journalists to different club people to just the basic fan. So yeah, I really like the stuff he does. Very authentic.
Yeah, and as you said, Scott, the obvious ones, but like I said, we've got quite a few content creators here in the chat, and mate, they all do a top job as well, and we love to have them.
Absolute legends.
Yeah, it's a great shout, Rob. And last question I've got, it's continuing the is it a football thing, is players going up after the match to go and have a bit of a banter or a bit of positive talk with their rival. Is that a football thing?
No, it's definitely not for me anyway.
Walk down the tunnel, do it away from the cameras. I
don't even want to see that in a rivalry game, to be honest, Scott. I don't want to see it.
In a rivalry game? No, God, no. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like in general, like I said, if it's a normal game, nothing, fair enough, go behind the camera and have a chat if you're mates. But the rivalry games, honestly, it looks embarrassing, man. It just looks like the game's gone.
So you weren't a big fan of when Guardiola did the big half-turn swivel handshake hug with Klopp at the end? Or?
Oh, jeez, man. Like
at that point, I wanted them both to lose.
It's just yeah. Look, we've seen it before, mate. Like players swapping shirts or giving each other cuddles after the game, man, in like a big derby game. Like it just didn't happen back then, I don't know. Yeah, for me, it's definitely not a football thing for me.
Yeah, the best was when I think we were watching it together, Rob. I can't remember, United Chelsea, and one of Conte's staffers ran up in front of Mourinho and basically, got up him and about to have a massive punch on. We don't condone violence, of course.
I know, but then you go back.
But we do condone his passion. We want teams to care. It's not about just getting paid.
Jose and Wenger back then. So Alex versus Wenger, all those good rivalries, man. Those bring that little bit more extra spice. How they used to G each other up in press conferences, like you don't see that stuff anymore.
The specialist in failure comments or people digging up Mourinho, all the good stuff.
The mind games, it's just all that colourly stuff is not a football thing, definitely for me.
Beautiful. Well, guys, unless we've got any further comments, and I'll give you the floor. Scott, you go first. I just want to say first my final thoughts. Fantastic discussion. Been some awesome activity. It's going to be a big couple of days in the Champions League, and I hope on the way out you smash that like button and share it with your friends, because we've been making some really good traction here, and we wouldn't be possible without you legends.
Absolutely. Look, just to echo what RJ's saying, don't forget to smash that button, share it with a mate. And also go and check out, like we've said, some of the content creators in the chat. Tom, Cannon Chatter, we've got the Football Capital, Aussie Gooner was here. Check all them guys out, especially the video we did last night on the Football Capital. It was really fun to make my debut on there. So make sure you go check that out and sub to them as well. We especially want to support our fellow Aussie content creators. Robbie?
Well said. Robbie?
I think you guys wrapped up, boys. So enjoy the Champions League, and we'll be back on Thursday night.
Well said, guys. Take care. Until then, stay safe. See you on Thursday.